Hello, Spider Duck, and welcome back to Let's Play DuckTales. Alright, enough screwing around. We're here with Scrooge, and he's got his nephews with him. The green one, the red one, and, the other green one. So here we are with the Amazon. I think I mentioned that you can play the stages in any order you like, but I still find the Amazon makes the best intro stage out of the bunch. Not because it's easy, for the simple reason that it's not easy. When you only have 3 health, it's really easy to die and maybe even game over in this stage on your first time through this game. There are a lot of enemies, like tons of spawning gorillas, the flower traps are kind of hard to get around, the snakes are actually relatively harmless, the bees, super friggin' annoying, you know, who likes Medusa heads, also. that always kills me. Anyway, figuratively. Anyway, no, the Amazon does not make a good first stage because of how easy it is. Rather, its structure is the cleanest and easiest to read out of the bunch. And in a game that develops into heavy mazery, I guess you would call it, it's important to start on a simple structural foot to get the player's feet wet. Anyway, speaking of structure, these vertical portions, like here, these are used just to tie bits together. They're not really significant in and of themselves. They're more, I would call them interstitials, just to separate bits. So, like, now that I've passed through one, this is an entirely new segment. It's going to have an entirely different flavor to it. As you see, there's a lot more bottomless pits going on right now. And the enemies are a lot fewer, but more carefully placed. So the first stage, I had to be careful because if I moved too fast, I was going to walk into an enemy, but I could still, you know, if I was good at jumping, I could keep up a relatively good flow. Here, I find I need to play a lot more carefully. Also, keep in mind that crumbling bridge. That's going to be an important asset later in the stage. And so this third part, it's a return to the first part of the stage with a lot of safe ground, a lot of enemies going on, but it's also an escalation in difficulty because the enemies, they'll hurl things at you, they'll drop on you from above, so they're just in general more difficult to deal with. And so the Amazon takes on a pretty simple structure where the first part focuses on enemies, second part focuses on bottomless pits, third part focuses on enemies. So it's an easy back and forth. It's a pretty typical platformer rhythm. And as you'll see, DuckTales does not stick to typical platformer rhythms. But part of the difficulty in my reading of this stage is this part right up here. So if you want to pay this guy's fee, you have to... From what I know, I think you have to pick up pretty much every gem in this stage, and you gotta be really careful about it. So, if you want to play it legitimately, this stage does not have a clean structure. There's a ton of hidden passages you gotta uncover just in order to pay that guy. But it is possible to avoid paying him, and just cheese it and play it like a normal platformer stage. So there's a dissonance there between, you know, what the developers intended and how I play it. In those matters, I typically ignore what the developers intended because it doesn't matter what they intended. It only matters, you know, what the end result was. Anyway, so at the end there, we got a crumbling part, and that was that served as more of a bridge to the final part with the boss. I don't think it has any real meaningful bearing on the platforming prior. It was exciting, but it didn't harp on any bottomless pits or on any enemies. It was just an exciting part to wrap things up before the big bad boss. Anyway, be well, do good work, and keep in touch.